Okay, folks. So I'm gonna post this video on YouTube and actually link it to Canvas, so you're gonna be able to view it in Canvas. I'm gonna put it under announcements, I guess. Folks, so that first assignment, all I need is your name. If you know your major or where you plan on transferring, say, give me that information. If you don't know it, say, don't know. Uh, and that's all I need. And if you turn that in, you are fine. You will not be dropped from the class. You're gonna be perfectly fine. Um, then let's talk a little bit about the textbook. I don't require the textbook because they're expensive. And you can easily find them for cheap on Amazon. Um, now, a few years back, you could buy them for as little as a penny, plus $3.99 shipping. You know, because they got to get you someplace. Obviously, they're not making any money on the penny. Well, nowadays, I don't know if you can still find it for a penny, but you can find it for $2.99, $3.99, $4.99 plus shipping. So for less than $10, you can get a hold of the textbook, and it's Economics Today. If you are in macro, it's going to be the Macro View, and by Roger Miller. And it doesn't matter what edition you're buying; they're all about the same. The concepts are the same. The only thing that they change are the examples. So of course they're going to make them a little bit more contemporaneous examples, but the ideas are exactly the same. So save some money on that. Now I can tell you that for the micro view, I was able to find free copies online, PDF files. So you just download it and then you have a copy. With macro, for some reason, it's a little bit more difficult. I wasn't able to find it. Not that I looked that much, but in the past, I had students who emailed me the URL for free copies of the macro book. So if you search and you find it, please let me know and I will post it for everyone. I know they're available, just I have a hard time finding the free copy for macro, but it is available. In any case, in general, personally, I don't like to use online material where I'm reading online. I'd rather have a book in front of me. So that's why I'm recommending going to Amazon and buy an old copy. You know, it doesn't matter what edition, they're all basically the same. Okay. About the tests, there are 2 midterms and 1 final, and you're going to be able to make up both midterms. So exam 1, exam 2, and then final. Exam 1 is going to be week 7. I already put up the dates online. So if you go to the first page, you're going to see the dates of the tests. And then my tests are always take place Thursdays and Fridays. So they are available on Thursdays and Fridays from, I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning till the next day at midnight, you know. So Thursday, the test becomes available to you at 8 o'clock, and then it's available all the way through Friday at 11:59 p.m. Okay, 25 multiple choice questions. You have an hour to complete it. Make sure that you do not exit the test until you are done, because if you exit the test, you're not going to be able to get back in. So pick a time where you are comfortable and then go over and open it up. You have an hour to complete it. Most people will finish it in about 15 to 20 minutes. So time is not an issue in my classes. Okay. And the following week, so let's say we're talking about test number 1, I believe will be available, I don't know, October 2nd or I don't know. I don't take my word for it. It's on the first page as you go into the class, the dates. So it's available Thursday and Friday, and then the following week we're gonna have the makeup exam. And the makeup exam covers the same chapter, same material, is gonna be similar. It's not gonna be, obviously it's not gonna be identical because on, I told you on, it's available Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday, you're gonna have access to the correct answers. So obviously the makeup exam cannot be the same, but it's gonna be very similar. And then same concept, 25 multiple choice questions, you have an hour, you have those 2 days, Thursday and Friday to do it. And then I'm gonna take only the higher of the 2 grades. Okay, so you have every incentive to take the makeup exam because you cannot go down in grade. So it's not gonna be an average, it's gonna be the higher of the 2. Now, I know that Canvas, for some reason, finds a way of averaging the 2 scores. Disregard that. It doesn't matter. I take the higher of the 2. I have access to both grades, test 1 and test 1 makeup, and I only take into account the higher of the 2 grades. So if you see an average, just disregard it. I don't know why Canvas puts that up. Okay. There is no makeup for the final. Okay, the final is the last Thursday and Friday of the semester, and that's the end of it. Okay, once you're done with the final, you're done with the class. We say goodbye to each other, and we're done. Questions, comments? All you guys are muted, and nobody wants to talk with me. I mean, it's kind of like scary.
Question.
Yes.
I was looking through the module. In each chapter in the beginning, it has, are those bullet points highlighted versions of the chapter, or is it all the chapter itself, or?
No, they're like bullet points, and actually they cover a lot more than I will cover in the semester. To really access everything that they have, you would have to purchase an e-pack from the publisher, and that's going to cost quite a bit of money. So I would not pay attention to that. Here's what's going to happen. Every Monday and Tuesday, I will come here to class at 10:30, and I'm going to have a lecture on a chapter. And I'm going to tape that lecture. And I will do it on Monday, and then I will do it on Tuesdays. Same lecture. Okay. Then the one that I consider that it's the better one, because it is going to be the same chapter. So the same lecture on Monday, the same lecture on Tuesday. I will lecture on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then I will pick the one that I consider to be the better one. Go from Zoom, I will download it to my computer, from my computer into YouTube, and then I may edit a little bit of captioning, and then I will put a link in Canvas so you have a copy of the lecture. So I will follow my lectures rather than anything that you see in the modules.
Okay.
I wanted to put something in the modules and it was free, so I did it, you know. But other than that, if you need access to all kinds of stuff that the publisher has, then you have to pay, okay? And there's no need for that. Actually, I stayed away from the publisher's material for a reason. See, when they went from a textbook to a digital textbook, with a digital textbook, you know, only the first copy costs them stuff, okay? All the subsequent copies are basically free. So in order to justify a little bit the cost, the fact that you still have to pay, I don't know, 80 bucks, 100 bucks, whatever, they threw in everything. So it's a ton of material. Okay, I don't care about that. I want you to focus on the basics. I want you to focus on what I care about, not all kinds of small details and, you know. So it's a little bit overwhelming when you go into the publisher's material. I would much rather you just get the textbook, get an older edition, spend $5, $10, read the chapter, and listen to the lecture, view the lecture that I'm going to post.
Okay.
Like I said, I will lecture on Mondays and Tuesdays. So I highly recommend that people show up for lectures. I like it better when I can have back and forth, you know, maybe you have a question, you know, I'm right there, you know, you can ask and so on. Then I will post the link so you can view it at some other time. And then on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I will show up here in Zoom, but there's not going to be a lecture. It's going to be just office hours. So at that time, you have viewed the lecture, you have some questions, come over on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever you have some time, between 10:30 and 12:30 for the macro class. And I'll be here and more than happy to answer any questions. If you just want to talk about movies or restaurants or anything like that, I'm also available here. I love to talk about movies and restaurants. By the way, the movie theaters are opening on the, anybody? 21st, August 21st. Regal is opening on 21st. I have one of those unlimited movie passes, so and I haven't used it in a long time, so I'm looking forward to that. And again, restaurants, you know, ask any questions. I know a lot of them. So that's yeah. The lectures, the link to the lectures will be under modules under each chapter. So it's going to say lecture on this chapter, lecture on that chapter. So chapter 2, there's going to be lecture on chapter 2. And you just click on it and it should take you to YouTube. Last semester, I can tell you that last semester, well, I was teaching all my classes on campus. So I had all my classes, I was the only one teaching on campus. So there were 7 classes on campus. I was teaching them all. And other people, adjuncts, were teaching the online classes. Now, when we went online, it scared me big time. I didn't know anything about campus, didn't know anything about Zoom. I didn't have really access to publishers' material because I haven't used the publisher in about 15 years or so. I used it for the first 5 to 8 years, and then I decided the prices were skyrocketing and didn't make any sense. I had to transfer questions from my test bank that I had on my computer at work in my office to Canvas. And I thought that I would have one full week because they closed the school for one full week. And actually, it turned out that I only had 2 days because they gave us Monday and Tuesdays, and they did not let us back into our offices after that. So, so make sure that you take either the original test or the makeup exam, because if you miss both of them, the original and the makeup, I don't have any other tests. I don't have any other questions. I could only transfer so many questions from my test bank onto Canvas. So I don't have tons of other tests like I do at work. Okay. So there are only so many questions that I have available. Yeah, so what happened was we came back online to classes, and my tablet, Zoom on a tablet works a little bit differently than Zoom on a laptop. So that frustrated me. So when we came back, I was able to get, I got from my wife, I got an old laptop and used that. But the video wasn't that good. The audio was pretty bad. There was a lot of feedback. And I heard one of my students say, "Oh my gosh, this is not gonna work. This is," and you can imagine my heart sank. I mean, I was like devastated because I realized it wasn't gonna work. So what I did is I bought a new laptop. I bought this board so I can write on the board and I can have lectures. And it's just like a classroom. I have lights. You don't see them because they're behind, but I have lights, and it's like a studio here. So now I feel comfortable. It's just like a classroom. So hopefully you're gonna feel okay about it. Again, the more you show up, I think the better off you're gonna be. Last semester, I made the mistake of taping myself without an audience. So I would just do it, whenever, and I would post it, and then I would hold office hours at class time, if you will. And nobody showed up. So this semester, I'm taping myself during class time. So hopefully some people will show up and we can have a little bit of a give and take. I like to have fun when I lecture, and if I lecture by myself, it's kind of tough to have fun. So anywho, any questions so far? Don't be shy. Ask about a restaurant. Ask about a movie. Yes.
Oh. What's your favorite restaurant?
Right now, my favorite restaurant is called Et Voilà. Here, let me write it down. It's a French restaurant, obviously. Et voilà means kind of like, and here it is. It's really, really good food and very reasonable prices. Another restaurant that I highly recommend nowadays, because it's also very, very reasonable, and the views are unbelievable, is Tom Ham's Lighthouse on Harbor Island. You go on Harbor Island, you turn right, and it's right at the end. And very reasonable, and you're on the ocean. Okay, so any questions that you have? Because I think that I've covered most of the stuff. If we have discussions, they're worth only 5%, and my discussions are going to be very easy stuff. Discussions, assignments, very easy stuff. I may ask a question where basically all you have to do is watch the video and you're going to find the answer over there. So that's why the assignments and the discussion is worth only 5%. But I have to have it. I have to have it in the class. That's the way they want it in online classes. Actually, I had to qualify. I had to get my to get certified to teach online. So over the summer, I took courses and I took exams and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, it was a pain, a pain. I registered for that course in June, and then I gave up. I said, and then I registered in July and took care of it in 10 days or so. So yeah, they want those discussions and assignments, but they're gonna be very easy. It's like, give me points. So you're not gonna, there's a research paper that is due, and you can turn that in the last few weeks of the class. I will make it so that you can turn it in. It used to be where you could turn it in only the last few days, but I'm gonna make it the last few weeks. Again, the grades are always available to you as soon as you turn in the test. So let's say you take the test on a Thursday night, and you start at 8, you're done at 8:20, and you submit it. As soon as you submit it, you're gonna get your grade. Notice in the syllabus that my grading is a little bit different than other people's. So it goes 90 to 100, then it goes 75 to 90, and then it goes 55 to 75. So you can get a C with 55%. Yes, guys. Oh, any questions about that? Folks, you don't like me, or you don't like to talk, or you don't like the people in the class? No one's saying anything. All right.
So it's okay to drop out at any time, right? Because I have to go to a different
absolutely.
class.
Yeah, once you got the information that you need, you know, like for example, you come to class to watch the lecture, you know, and you have something else to do. You just take off. You come to office hours, you have a question, you don't have to stay over there. We don't want to have a staring contest, okay? So just get your question answered, and then go and watch, I don't know, Price is Right.
All right. Thank you. I have to leave though.
No,
because of
not a
another class.
problem. Okay, I
it's
don't
nice
take it
meeting you.
personally. Take care. Yeah, I never take those things personally, so don't worry about it. But I will stay. You know, most of the time, probably once I'm done with the lecture, most people will take off, and then what I do is I have in the background is the TV, and I'm gonna watch a little bit of TV. That's what else can I do?
All righty, Professor. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
We'll see you
And I'm gonna
on
stop the recording.
Monday then for lectures.
Yes, yes.
Okay. This week is just introductory stuff, so lectures will start next week.